Hi there, we're going to talk about telephone etiquette 101. This is a hot topic. It's my most widely watched video that I've ever done and probably article that I've ever written for practice management. I think a lot of doctors have problems with their staff on how they answer the phone at the front desk. I can attest to that because I have spent millions of days on the phone all day long calling receptionists to leave messages, and it is unbelievable what has been happening on front desks. I won't say that they're bad people. Their untrained staff is the problem because they're just answering like they were answering their cell phone and it's their girlfriend calling. Hi, what's up? you know, and it's not businesslike. It's not making a good impression about the doctor's office at all. And so I thought I'd go over some of the tips. So the first one is to answer the phone in a warm and welcoming way. I don't know if this happens, probably 8 out of 10 calls that we make, it is not answered in a warm and welcoming way. The receptionist is in a hurry, she's got a patient standing in front of her, and or somebody on the other line, or a doctor talking to her, or whatever it is that's happening. And she goes, Dr. Jones's office, may I help you? Did that sound warm and welcoming? Did that make you want to go to that practice? Refer your best friend to go there? No. So, whereas if she'd have said, Dr. Jones's office, hi, how can I help you? Or this is Janice speaking, how can I help you? Right? Totally different image and impression on the person who is calling in. And that first impression is everything. It's like the first stamp of approval or disapproval that's going to happen in the patient's mind. So if you want to have them become a patient, you need staff to be very well trained on how to do that warm, welcoming, I'm so glad you called us. There are funny ones, which I don't particularly love. I can help you. Every time they do that, I personally, as the person calling in, have a reaction like, how do you know? It's just an automatic thing that I say sometimes out loud and sometimes I simply think it in my head. But it's like kind of artificial. It's not warm and welcoming. But saying, may I help you? What can I do to help you? How can I make your day better? I don't know. That's kind of corny, but it's warm and welcoming at least. And you want to have good manners. You want to, show courtesy towards the person and so on, because this is you don't know who it is yet. And even if you do, because you recognize the phone number, so what? You treat your existing patients the same as you would treat somebody brand new to the practice, because you're there to take care of people. Ultimately, that practice is there to take care of people. And so it starts at the front desk with that first phone call. So the second one is sound warm and friendly and put care and interest. Um, you know, just like, well, how can I help you? That's not warm and caring and showing interest. That's like, get it over with. Tell me what you want so I can get rid of you. We don't want to sound like that. We want to sound like somebody who really wants to help that person. So maybe they're calling for the doctor. Maybe they're calling to make an appointment. Maybe they're calling to cancel an appointment, which you really don't want to hear, but they're calling, so you have to treat it with the ultimate care that you can put into them. You want to sound like they're the only person in the whole universe right at the moment. Even if you've got screaming babies in the background, or you've got, people talking, the doctor yelling at somebody, ha ha ha. No matter what's going on in the background, you are the conduit of communication with that person that has called in, and you need to be very caring and show that you are interested in them. Let's see. Another one, number 3, don't just put the person on hold without asking. How many times have you had that happen to you? You call in and they go, hold on. And you've got to, like, sometimes you're really in a hurry and you got to say, you just want to know, is the doctor in or not? That's it. You don't even want to talk to them. You just want to know if this is the right time to be calling them. So you want to do it a little differently. You want to say, okay, may I put you on hold for a minute while I find the doctor or get that person for you or check out what's happening, and let me go in the computer and I will call you right back. I will come right back to you if you let me put you on hold. Any version of that you want. And keep in mind that there are other people besides receptionists who answer the phone sometimes if the receptionist is not available. Sometimes it's the assistant or the doctor themselves. Everybody has to take responsibility for sounding like that perfect person on the front desk. Okay, so everybody needs training on this. When I was young, very, very young, one of my first jobs, I had to handle what used to be called a PBX board. It's a great big board with a million buttons on it where people can call in. It can be hairy sometimes. But before you ever go on that, you get a training session until you could actually make the person who you're talking to on the phone sound like they're the only person in the whole world and you're not in a rush. Even though there was other lights lighting up, you had to do that because you actually save time by putting full attention on that one person and helping them. So get permission. May I put you on hold for just a minute? I'll come right back to you. That is accepted. Do not just say, hold on, please. Because it's like, I just wanted to ask a quick question, that sort of thing. The next point is to use good vocabulary when you're on the phone. Don't go, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, what's up? This kind of thing, like as if it's your best friend. This, unless it is. Okay, fine, best friend. But if it's anybody else, it's a patient or a business person dealing with the practice. So treat them with good vocabulary, be a professional, sound like a professional. Okay, you're not a kid when you're on the phones answering for your doctor's office. You're there to give people a very good impression of your boss. So don't say no problem. If you, I told somebody, thank you so much for doing that for me. And instead of saying you're welcome, they go, no problem. I have a thing on that. It's like I wasn't being a problem. It's like use good manners. Okay. So those are just some hot tips on good manners. You should do training with your staff. You should not just throw them at the phone. Very few people are trained on this, and it makes a huge difference when they are. I am so impressed when I hit a receptionist that sounds like a upscale person who's having fun answering the phone, but caring and interested in me. So train them until they can do that because they cut your income otherwise. So that's all for today.